Welcome to this special edition of Sports Connection. I'm Darrin, your host, along with my co-host, Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, this is our third annual Rivalry Friday.
Change of venue tonight,
Yep.
Kings Bowl. The new athletic director secured this place. I think it's pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited about it.
Well, I've got to give you credit, and I got to give who used to be intern Lance, but now he's full-time Lance, and
We still call him intern Lance.
we appreciate him being here tonight. Lance West from WCTV. We appreciate what they do for us with these shows, promoting our athletes, promoting our coaches, promoting the programs. We're going to start off tonight, and I do want to mention our sponsors. A special thank you to Walker Chevrolet, Mathews Team Sports, and Adidas, and obviously Kings Bowl for having us here tonight. Appreciate everybody for making this happen. We're starting off with Coach Glazner, Brian Glazner from Independence Girls Basketball, up here with Kayla Miller. You guys had a pretty special night, didn't you, Coach?
Had a special second half. Summit come out just burning the nets. They hit 7 threes on the first half. We're down 31-12 at halftime. And what we told the girls was they can't keep shooting that way. Well, they hit a couple of more, so they hit 13 for the game.
13 threes for the night.
Yeah,
and you guys hit?
3.
3. So if my math's right, they outscored you by 30 from the three-point line.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, hey, it's about the final score, right?
Yeah, that's the final score. And the girls did a good job. We told them that by in the third quarter, when we down by half of that, trying to cut it in. It didn't quite work that way, but the kids played hard, stayed focused, and we got them out of what kind of defenses that they were running, and did a good job by executing, and started doing a little pressure on them, and they didn't like that as much. So girls stepped up their game in the second half and made it interesting, and then the gym came alive.
Tate, would we have thought, going into this year, and I knew Coach Glazner would do a good job, get the culture changed there at Independence and get some winning going, but 9-3 in the league, 15-6 overall, and really right now not fairly comfortably, but in third place right now. Who would have thought that, Tate?
I think Coach Glazner did.
I don't know if he would have thought that.
Pretty much told me before the season he thought it would. But, yeah, you're right. But, I mean, some good players, some good chemistry, and I would think some early wins. Kayla could tell us that, but got a little bit of confidence going, and it's a pretty neat. There's a lot of cool stories this year in the WCS, but I think this one ranks right up at the top, maybe the top. But what I want to know is this: down 31-12 at half. What was Coach's halftime speech?
Was he
because
calm?
It must have been like Newt Rockney-esque.
Was he calm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much, which
Okay.
is good because we needed to really pull it together, I guess, at the halftime, especially when we're down by that much, and it was only 12 points for us. But he told us basically that we need to calm down. We know how to play, and that much is evident by the way that he speaks to us, the way that the advice he gives and stuff. So we just knew that we needed to come back second half. We had to play our game. We had to be strong, not give up, basically, because there have been times where we'll start to give up, but we just knew that we couldn't. We just can't. But
You start talking about, and Coach Glazner mentioned this before we came on the air, you're down 20 points with, 5.5 minutes to go, and then the coach gets a technical foul, right? So you think that's going to make it even worse, and then you fast forward, and you guys are up 6. Summit hits a meaningless 3 to end the game. So you sort of win comfortably. If my math's right, that's about 9 minutes later? It's really unbelievable. It is. What were you thinking, Coach, when you got that tee? Was that to fire the team up? Was it frustration? What? Because you're not a technical foul kind of guy, right?
I hadn't had a technical in probably 8 years, so I mean.
Streak over.
Well, there you go. Start another one. But I mentioned something to the official earlier about a player grabbing and trying to get around, and Coach, that's enough. So a few minutes later, it's at the other end, and the player looked like they had double dribbled. I didn't say a word. I just made that, and he teed me up. So.
Now, you have to sit down after that, right?
Yeah, I was Velcroed the rest of the game.
The
Which
number
matters.
of times I've heard people say I didn't say a word.
I didn't say a word. I mean, my team can vouch for. Look at them. They can vouch for it. Everybody was surprised. So it was kind of crazy. And Kayla at that time, she really got the girls together and said, "We're settle down. He's got our back. We'll get his back." And that's what she told the kids. and they just came together and played hard. And then we turned up the pressure, like full court pressure, and that kind of gave them some trouble. And we kind of evolved from that, and then got them out of what kind of defense we were doing, and we started getting into a two-man game with Lindsey and Jalen, which both of them had a great night too. So that helped.
Coach, if you want to, and Kayla, we appreciate you being up here, you can have another player come up if you would like, or we can just finish our time with the four of us here, whatever you want to do. As Kayla's making her way, she's switching out here. We got Lindsey here. Let's talk a little bit about this, Tate. We got plenty of time to get down here to Kings Bowl, 1910, Galleria Boulevard. And Jay Johnson, who's a history guy, 1910 was the opening of Franklin High School. I wonder if that had anything to do with it, right? 1910.
Very well could have.
Galleria Boulevard. So you have plenty of time to make your way down here for those of you that are watching at home. We've got bowling. We've got some food specials. We've got this live event. Again, we appreciate Kings Bowl for having us. We appreciate Walker Chevrolet for sponsorship, Mathews Team Sports and Adidas, and the folks from WCTV for making this live stream happen. We do live stream now, Tate.
Live stream, this is big.
It's big.
I'm very excited about that. But also parking, if you've been here, if you're going to be on the Connor side, probably pretty full. Don't forget there is parking in the back. That's probably what you
Parking
did,
in the
Coach.
back. Yes, parking in the back.
Front row, there you go. So don't panic. There's parking in the back. And get in here and pop a shot. A lot of good things to do.
We've got a matchup coming up at 11 o'clock, right? All right, young lady, tell us what you were thinking. You're down 20. There's 5.5 minutes left. Your coach has lost control. He gets a technical, even though he didn't say anything. He gets a technical foul. What were you thinking? Did you think one play at a time? What were your thoughts?
To be honest with you, I was really thinking, especially playing for Coach Wild freshman year, I was like, I'm not going to let this man beat me again. So more than anything, I got with Jay, and I was like, we need to take this over. Because I'm like, I'm not losing to him. I'm like, I love him, but I'm not losing to him.
I can't wait to see if he shows. I mean, the coach is planning on coming tonight. I hope he does. He may not. If he doesn't, I get it. But I'll talk to him. Believe me, I'll talk to him. And you mentioned Jay. Pretty special freshman, right?
Yes. She is no doubt our best player. She's amazing. When you can get her on straight, I mean, she's insane. She can shoot. She can drive. I mean, she's unstoppable when she's on the right track.
Great passes.
Great passes, yes.
The thing I think is pretty cool, you were mentioning earlier, who would have thought this? This is obviously a tight-knit group. I mean, we've done this 3 times. 5 of you all are here. Pretty cool. Down, again, we keep talking about it, but if down 31-12, then down by 20, if you're not a tight-knit group, that doesn't happen. Really good chemistry this year with this group.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, we're always super close. We're always goofing off, sometimes too much, especially in practice. But I mean,
Nothing wrong with that. Keep it light, right?
right. But we love each other. We really do, and it shows. It shows in school. I mean, we'll joke around with each other in school, and we're just so closely knit to each other. There's no bickering. There's no nothing. And I love it.
No, that's neat. Coach Glazner, I mean, you obviously play a lot of games. There's a lot of season left, and you've played games, 20-something games in. Did this feel kind of like a defining moment for your team, even though maybe you're the favorite going into the game, but just what you had to overcome? Because you've talked about that, the steps you've got to take to have a really good program. To me, it seems like maybe a defining moment.
Well, we talked the other day that we try to find things in a game that you're trying teachable moments. Also, we talk about that in practice. These things could happen. You can't set up every scenario, but I think these girls have learned that they can lean on each other. It doesn't matter who's the scorer, who's the passer, but we're doing it together, and it doesn't matter how much time you're on the floor or who scores the points. It's what we do as a group, and they embody that as a team.
That's a great message. Tate, any other final questions before we get Franklin High School up here and Coach Johnson?
I do. 15-6, 9-3, won 7 of the last 10. You feel pretty confident after tonight?
No doubt.
Okay. So we have Paige Dixon County, Spring Hill, and Brentwood. 3 of the losses I just mentioned. So we've got our second time around against those 3. What did you learn from those first games? Got confidence going into them? How do you feel about the next week and a half?
I'm feeling pretty confident. We've talked a lot about guarding the 3 a lot better, which I feel like we've struggled with, what we struggled with the first time. So I'm really feeling like we're going to do a lot better with that. And then since then, we've gotten a lot closer and we've realized our strong points. So I feel like we're going to go in and do pretty decent. Not necessarily saying that we're going to beat someone such as Brentwood, but we're going to give them a run for their money.
And you know that if you're down, just remind Coach to get a technical foul in the 4th.
I will.
Tides will turn.
We appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate all the folks from Independence coming out. Jay Johnson is up next. Thank you guys for being here. Tate, as Coach Johnson's making his way up here, won't you give us an update on the state wrestling duels? Now, we've got that going on today, and we have 4 teams representing Williamson County at the state duels. Tate, give us an update.
Well, we'll start with AAA. It's an exciting time, but AAA. So to win, there is no losing, right? So you win and you move on if you want to get to the championship bracket. Centennial started the day off with a 43-36 victory over Houston. Then, 30 minutes ago it went final, defeated Oakland, really good, 33-30. They are wrestling in the semifinals tomorrow at 1 o'clock versus Wilson Central. Another really good team, but it's doable. So very exciting there. Then you've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. We had the
several weeks.
The dream match again, Nolensville, Fairview Park, I don't know. And Fairview gets the win.
Started off with a big win over Greenville. I was out there earlier today, 56-21, and then defeated Nolensville in the semifinals, 42-24. So Fairview tomorrow at 5:30 will wrestle for the state duels championship at the Williamson County Expo Center. Coach Johnson's been out there a few times over the course of his life, probably racing go-karts or doing something like that out there. Coach, appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.
Coach, real quick, Pigeon Forge defeated Hickson 38-32. So tomorrow, 5:30, the Yellow Jackets are in the state championship match in the duels versus Pigeon Forge.
Coach Johnson, welcome. Congratulations on the win tonight. Battle of Franklin, round 2.
Yes, and thank you for having us.
Let me make sure I get this right. 57-39, I believe.
I think that's right, yeah.
Kate O'Neill, Kate, obviously one of the top players in the league, 25 points. You may not know these stats. 25.6 rebounds. Bergen Ali, 16 points. Lauren McKnight, 7 points. And my favorite stat of the night, Lila Gardner, am I saying the name correctly?
You are, yes.
9 assists.
9 assists. Only the second game she started this year.
Wow.
Throwing a freshman point guard out there against Independence first night, and then Centennial. She's played well both games.
No doubt about it. You know, we talked about, and I know we talked with you guys, talking to you and Coach Simmons earlier in the week. It's one of those games that both of you struggled a little bit, but you've got some games on the schedule that you feel are pretty winnable. This was one of those games. It's got to give you confidence going forward.
It really does. We've been having trouble scoring, and it was just good tonight to see the ball go in the basket, and you just hope that carries over next week and into the tournament.
You're on the 3-game homestand, right? So what are your next 2 home games?
We got Summit coming up Tuesday night, and appreciate Independence. They ticked them off for us, so that'll be a little tougher game. And then Dixon County coming in Friday night.
By the way, AJ, you guys go visit AJ. Coaches, if you're here, there'll be some pizza come out. Coaches, make sure you come over and pick that up. Anyone else, we apologize, we can't feed everybody. You can certainly order off the menu, though, so make sure that you do that. After Coach Johnson, we'll have Coach Simmons up, and then we'll go Coach Thrash from Brentwood. So we'll try to keep it in order when folks showed up. Let's talk. So, Coach, that puts you now 2-11, right, in the league. And really, you've got, not that it's the only game coming up, you take care of Spring Hill head-to-head, all of a sudden you've moved up into 7th place. And I know, it's not first, but still, you're getting better every week.
We really are, and if we just continue to play hard, we had a few games there where, I wasn't pleased with our effort. I don't think we were pleased with our effort, and the last couple of games, it's been back. We've seemed to have that spark a little bit more, and like I said, when I first told them, when we first started this season, we said February is what you're playing for. So, here we are, and middle of February is the target, and hopefully we're playing our best next couple of weeks.
Tate?
Coach, your first year back coaching, been out for a few years, had a pretty good run as athletic director watching the boys coach the last few years.
All-time winningest basketball coach in the school's history, most wins.
And as you mentioned earlier, that goes back to 1910. Did they play basketball in 1910?
They did. I think you had the
peach basket. Also a member, starting point guard of the 1989 state championship team. And you like to brag, the only state title, right, in basketball?
Yes, definitely.
For WCS, so I know you're proud of that too.
My wife's back there rolling her eyes at me
Yes,
right
she
now.
is.
So.
Yes, she is.
It's going to be hard getting him in the car tonight. But no, seriously though, this is your first time coaching the ladies, correct?
Yes, on the high school level.
Okay,
We
yeah.
coached a couple of summers, me and Chan Workman, one of my high school teammates, Greg Hamilton, another high school teammate. We coached some AAU a couple of years with Julie Jackson and some of those girls on it, Asia Brogdon from Brentwood, and several of them.
yeah.
And we coached them during the summer, and we had a really good team until Rick Insel decided he wanted our two best players, and then all of a sudden we weren't quite as talented as we were.
What Rick Insel want, Rick Insel get.
Yes, he did.
Well, but so you mentioned
And,
young
hey,
team.
wait a second. By the way, you trained like some people that are hurting you now, right?
Yes, definitely.
What was it like getting back this year? You got a young team. They're growing, which it sounds like you are. Was it like riding a bike? The game changes so fast in 3, 4, 5, 6 years, right?
It does, yes.
So how's it been for you this year?
I've enjoyed it. I mean, obviously you look at wins and losses, you think, it's a tough season. But I tell people, if you looked at us back in November and December and what we've looked like, starting probably going into Christmas is when we kind of turn the corner. Yeah, we're still not winning, but we're playing well against some good teams. And that's made it a really fun and interesting year. And our biggest thing is that we're young, but we're very inexperienced. And, one of the big things I've already started planting with them is summer's going to determine a lot what we look like next year, because a lot of our girls just need to get in the gym and play play as many games as they can. So we're going to hopefully keep them busy in the spring and summer, and that'll get us a little further ahead of where we were this year.
Well, you can tell by watching you guys too, Coach. I watched a little bit of the game earlier from the live stream from
right.
WCTV.
That's right. How did Brees do announcing?
Brees
tonight?
is great now. I'm telling you, he is. He's got a lot of great sayings. He's got some enthusiasm for the game. So no, he does a really good job. I think he's kind of jealous. I think he wants to maybe knock Tate off so he can be, or me maybe, where he can be like on these shows. Which we need to get Coach Brees out here more.
Does he know what the pay is?
Well, maybe that's why he hasn't talked about it too much. The pay's not great, is it?
It's not why we do it.
Once again, we're on location at Kings Bowl. We appreciate these guys having us tonight. Again, thank you to Lance West of WCTV for handling the live stream. Thank you to Walker Chevrolet, Mathews Team Sports, and Adidas for having us. Still plenty of time to make your way down to 1910 Galleria Boulevard. 1910 Galleria Boulevard. And Tate, where do they need to park?
Probably in the back,
Getting crowded.
behind Ulta, getting crowded. But you never know. Some people might be clearing out. But if you don't find a spot, check out the back. Coach, I want to know this. We mentioned young, getting better, growing, learning. But Kate O'Neill, I think, has been consistent the whole year. She's, I guess, probably the leader of the team, but really, really playing well. Anytime you get online, you're going to see her. She's usually in double figures. I don't know, has she had a bad game this year? I mean, she's been consistent.
Yeah, I mean, we've all had bad games. I've had bad games this year, more than I'd like to talk about. But no, she's been steady this year, and you know we go as she goes. If she's not having a good night, you know we lose half our scoring. So she's huge for us, and you know we've got to get her the ball. You know, and part of getting them to buy in is the more touches she gets, the better it's going to make the perimeter game, because you know a post feed to her is the same as a drive to the middle, and you know we just got to get that to our players, get her the basketball. She needs to touch it, and if she doesn't score, you're better having the ball come from inside out and shoot threes that way.
Coach Johnson, we appreciate you being here. Go get some pizza out there. Coaches, as you come in, we should have some pizzas arriving. Anyone else can certainly place an order. Make sure you see AJ. He'll take care of you. Appreciate you being here, Coach.
Thank you,
Coach
Coach.
Simmons, if you'll come up next. Centennial. Any updates on scores? Tate, I've been trying to shuffle through my papers
I
here.
do. Lance,
Go ahead.
formerly known as Intern Lance. I know you were wanting to know this one. Franklin, 81-76 over Centennial. What do we know? Was it 2 overtimes or 1? 1 overtime. There's been a lot of extra minutes played by the Rebels, the boys Rebels this week, would you say? How you doing, Coach Simmons?
That would be a definite. Coach Simmons, appreciate you being here. Introduce who you have here with us.
Sheraton Foster. What a joy to coach. So I'm glad to have her here with us today.
Sheraton is doing a great job for your team this year. I know you came up short tonight, but Sheraton's somebody you've talked a lot about. Sheraton only a sophomore. I know you have 1 senior who starts. You have 4 sophomores who start. Still playing hard, still interested. But I know Sheraton's one of your leaders. Sheraton, do you take that on gladly? You want to be a leader on the team?
Of course. I want to lead my teammates, and it's good to be the leader and be considered as a leader, and I take on that challenge.
Tate, I know this about being a leader. It's hard to be a leader if you can't play. Sheraton can play, right, Coach Simmons?
Absolutely, yeah. And she's one of those kids that just loves the game. And, you know, she's only going to continue to get better. I mean, she really is. So can't be more proud of her.
Well, Sheraton, Coach and I have talked about this a few times. Same thing with Coach Johnson as well. You guys, you know, you look at a team like Independence, very similar situation as you guys. Last year, now you look up, they're 9-3 in the league, competing for that top 3 spot. So we feel like you guys have a chance to do that next year too, with only 1 senior. Coach, it looked like taking a look at your game tonight, it was all about that third quarter, wasn't it? Because at the half, what was it, 28-23?
Yeah.
So talk about that third quarter. What happened there?
Yeah, you know, they came out ready, and we didn't answer the punch. But once again, I'm very proud of this group. They keep fighting and they keep playing hard, and that's all you can ask for in a coach. You know, that's all you can ask for. So
Definitely, Tate.
Well, you mentioned her being a leader too, and you can't be a leader if you can't play pretty hard.
Yeah.
But as you said, you're a sophomore, right? That's tough to do too. I mean, you know,
is.
if you can, even if you can play. So, did you want it, or did you just realize pretty early on, I'm going to have to do this? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's hard to do. So, or was that something you just, hey, get on my back, and we're going to go?
Kind of both. When I got there, of course, I want to be a leader. I want to be considered as that role. And then I started playing with my teammates, and I'm looking like, yeah, okay, I can do this. I can lead them. So,
Can you even drive? Are you 16?
I'm getting there. I'm 15.
15.
She can drive to the basket.
Drive to the. Can you go with both hands?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. She didn't even hesitate.
Coach Simmons, you know, with your team, and we talked about this again a couple of weeks ago, you're going to be in that, looks like that 8-9 game, but I still say for your team, you know, that's a game that'll be a winnable game for you. And maybe in a lot of ways, maybe that's better than 7th, because you get a chance to potentially play 2 district games. Not that you couldn't be 7th and win the game, but it's going to be a little bit tougher. You get in that 8-9 game, then you give this inexperienced team 2 games of experience. So there's some positive things coming up for you.
absolutely, yeah, that's a good way to build going into next year. So this group, like I said, I've said this before in the last couple of coaches talks that we've had. I can't be more proud. I mean, they continue to stay positive throughout, even though the wins aren't there, and they play for each other. And like I said, I couldn't be more proud of them. So.
And Tate, I know I speak for you in saying this too. Coach Simmons, and we mean this and we say it, I certainly do, and I know Tate does as well. You're so easy to root for. You got a great attitude, you work hard, you're good with these young ladies. So I'm looking forward to when those brighter days come about for you guys.
Appreciate it.
Tate?
Oh, I agree, and we've talked about it. I think one thing, and you knew this, that there's just been so much turnover through the years, right? We're young. We obviously got a young lady who can fill it up, and so I've always thought this, especially both, but especially in ladies basketball, when you have someone who can score points, you can build around it. So if y'all stick together, which I know you will, I think that's all they need, and so it's going to be fun to watch this group grow and still going to the tournament, and record goes out the window. So
That's right.
it's going to be fun.
We're looking forward to it. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Miles Thrash, I think I saw him earlier. Coach Thrash, if you'll come up. Talk to Coach Thrash, Brentwood High School. Good to see you, man. Coaches, should have some pizza coming out. I hope AJ's not making a liar out of me. But there should be some pizzas arriving. If so, make sure you guys get some pizza. Everyone else, make sure you order something. Okay, we probably have some folks out there bowling, I hope. I hear some pins being knocked down. We're here at Kings Bowl, 1910 Galleria Boulevard, the third edition of Rivalry Friday. Coach Thrash, welcome.
Welcome. Hey, glad to be here.
Battle of the Woods tonight, 56-29, I believe, was the score. Tell us a little bit about that game.
Well, we got off to a bit of a slow start. They had a tremendous game plan. They wanted to slow it down and take us away and make it a kind of a possession-type game. So we did a really good job of speeding them up a little bit, forcing them into some turnovers, and we kind of pushed away, got a lead.
Tate, 13-0 for Brentwood, 19-1 overall, 19 straight wins. No pressure, Coach, but we always say this, Coach Tate and I do. It's going to be hard to derail you guys from getting to the glass house. I know that's your goal. Tate, well, what do you think?
Well, and the other thing, too, that I think is really cool, their last time they lost was November the 19th of 2019, first game of the season.
And now they've won 19 in a row.
19 in a row.
I'm quick now.
I see something coming here, but the thing that if you've seen them play, you read about you just had your third 1,000-point score. Yeah. We know about the points, but the thing I like about them is the defense and the pace they play with. You're deep, and it's not just those three, but I think y'all really wear them down, don't you?
Yeah, we try to do a good job of speeding tempo up and try to make people go deeper into their bench. Yeah, this is one of our few years we really are deep. So yeah,
makes practices better too. When you can get something done in practice, right?
Yeah,
I bet they're fun to watch.
Yeah, they're very competitive. We've created an environment where it's a lot of competition in practice, and then some of those girls want to try to get in there and crack the roster, so we make it competitive, and we keep that open.
Coach, I was at your game Tuesday night. You guys took on Page High School, two best teams in the league right now. Both of you came in with one loss. Great game. You guys got off to a great start. And I said this earlier, and this is no disrespect to Page at all. To me, the primary difference between your two teams is the passing. I say it all the time. You have the best passing team that I have watched this year, boys or girls. It's not even close, really.
Awesome. That's a great compliment. Well, we take pride in sharing the ball. I said it before. I think that's the way the game should be played. You're easy to guard and predictable if one person is scoring. So, we got a couple girls that can really put the ball in the basket, and they also do a great job of sharing it, and they accept the fact that they want to see their teammates score.
Yeah, you can tell that. And you talk about having 3 1,000-point scores on the floor at the same time. That's, like Tate said, that's impressive. But you would think with 3 1,000-point scores that there would be a little selfishness. There's zero. I'm telling you, there's none. Yeah. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Well, it helps that 2 of the 3 1,000-point scorers are twins. So
But they don't try to freeze Osgood out either, though.
no, and it's cool to watch. I don't know if it's by design or we're going to take what they give us or what, but you know, one will be the high point that game, and another one. You know, it's never just one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what is that? Are we taking what they give us, or how do you go about that?
It's a little bit of both, but you know, throughout our journey, especially my first few years with them, we wanted to create that environment where they had to share the ball because of their talent. You know, and they all came from parts where they were one of the focal players, and they did most of the scoring. So, you know, my biggest challenge was being able to bring that to the fact that they need to share the ball, and you know, it's only one ball, you know, and everybody can't shoot it. So, you know, they bought in, and then it's a tribute to them and their hard work. Now,
Coach, I'm sure you probably wouldn't even react to this, but I think Osgood's the player of the year in the league. I really do. I mean, all 3 are obviously all district players. To me, when I watch her play, and I mean this very respectfully, I told somebody the other night, and I hope this isn't like seen as disrespectful. She plays like a guy.
Oh,
And I mean that as a compliment. She really does.
Yeah, that's a compliment. She's our catalyst. You know, there's no secret about it. You know, and she's done a tremendous job of, first of all, physically changing her body and understanding the game. Like, it didn't happen overnight. Like, she's a hard worker, guys. She's the first one in. I mean, it's like 5:30 a.m. She's in the gym shooting, and she's the last person to leave at practice every day.
That says something when you're the best player.
Yeah.
Well, and I tell you what else they do too. Coach Crawford coaches weights over there with Coach Sanford. They're in that weight room.
That's
not.
there.
It's not by. This isn't by accident, right? They.
Yes.
You know how you said, you don't mean it disrespectfully, they play like a guy?
Yeah.
They train now in the weight room like a guy. I mean, they put the work in. I mean, it's not by, again, this is no accident.
Yeah.
You know, that's funny you mentioned Coach. I just wrote his name down. I was sitting with Coach Crawford the other night, who, by the way, is like the biggest Brentwood fan of other sports, right?
Yes.
He was talking about one of the Trucials was shooting in the 60s from three-point range. Which Trucial?
Delaney.
I mean, 60-something%.
Yeah.
That's Reese Glover.
That seems like no. He shot probably 40%, which is great. He took some bad shots and should have, you know, because we needed him to take shots.
Yeah.
But 60-something%, I just can't even hardly believe it.
That's amazing, man. That's a tribute again to her hard work and her focus level. She's done a tremendous job for us this year, and they had a great summer. You know, they prepared well. They stayed in the gym, and like I said before, it all goes back to their training too, though. They had to change their bodies physically. You know, because when we first got there, teams got up on them. They were a lot more physical with them. And, you know, they had to change it, you know. And we knew that, and they did a good job of getting there. And still got some ways to go, but I'm glad they're on my team.
You guys seem, to me, too, I think when you have a really good team like you do, you get to a point where you're like, okay, let's get the postseason started. I can kind of sense, and I sense this from Nolensville, too, maybe even more than you guys, because they're just dominating their league. Yeah. You guys are, too, but still some of the games are tighter. I think you guys are ready for that tournament.
Yeah, we just from day one, we didn't mean to overlook anybody. We won't overlook anybody. It's still every game, every quarter. But, you know, we set a goal. We want to try to get to the state tournament. We want to try to be district champs. And, you know, I felt like in order to do that, we had to really change a lot. And also we had to believe in it more.
I love how you embrace that. You don't hide from it. You're like, hey, this is what we want to do. And Tate, this won't surprise you. I love because Coach Thrash is so excitable on the bench. I look out and he's got the 3 fingers. I love it. I love it. You got to be you, right, Coach?
Yeah, you got to be you, man. That was me as a player. That was me as a teammate. And, you know, I try to pass that on to them, man. I always love the game, man. I always had a passion. That's the only way you can be successful in it. You got to love it. You got to love what you do.
Yeah, it's obvious, Coach. It is. Tate, any final questions before we move on?
No, man. I mean, I think it's been fun. Is this right? You have 3 games next week?
Yes.
Okay, so Overton, Dixon County, Centennial,
yes.
And then finish up with Independence. The other thing he's done, he's upped the sideline attire. Coach can
no
dress
doubt.
now. You notice
No
Coach
doubt.
Glasner came in here looking fresh. But how much thought goes into the wardrobe? It's okay, admit it. I like it, but he's definitely upped the sideline game.
Playing for some of the coaches I played for as a player, you know, they always say you look like you play, and then also they just always been professional. I always felt like that's just how you should be as a professional. And that's just me. That's how I embrace it. Others, they see it other ways, but yeah.
Coach, congratulations again on tonight's win, on the season so far. Looking forward to the postseason. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
All right, bro.
I think I saw Coach James in here. If we can get Coach James, Ravenwood High School up here. Coach, take your time. You can take your time. We can fill up some time talking here if we need to. Tate, we talked about the wrestling duels, right? Fairview High School, the team I predicted will win it all. And I meant to say this earlier, too. Either way, Coach, either way, and I don't, again, I keep saying I don't, when you don't mean something disrespectfully, maybe you do, I don't know. What I like about, and Coach Hughes at Fairview, of course he does it to joke around too, poor us, little old Fairview. Coach Derrick, from the second I met him, that's not him. He's like, I'm telling you this, they've got the best team in the district, in the county. I believe that. Centennial's great, Independence is great, Brentwood's great. I think the best team is Fairview.
You're probably right. It'd be fun to watch, but no. And one, it's wrestling, right? So you got to be pretty tough to do that. And they built it from the ground up, and he just kept getting kids out. And Nolensville's younger, but it's kind of the same. Coach Peck did the same thing. The number one thing is we got to get guys out on the mat, right? We can't get them better wrestlers if they're not out there. And I think they kind of like you were talking about Coach Thrash and the Lady Bruins earlier. I think you a lot of times take on the personality of your coach.
No doubt about it.
And Coach Derrick's a pretty no-nonsense guy. And I think they got a good chance to win this tomorrow. And also tournaments, the way he schedules, they've wrestled tough matches, right? You have to do it that way. And so. I think you're right. They can definitely stake their claim as one of the top teams, if not the top team in the county.
We now have Coach Andrew James in his first year at Ravenwood High School, doing a nice job for the Lady Raptors. Lose that tough game tonight, Battle of the Woods to Brentwood High School. And I don't know how the game flowed. I just saw the final score, but certainly looked like to me, Coach Thrash talked about you had a good game plan to slow them down. I was at the first game that you guys played. They dominated from the get-go. But it looks like, even though the score 27 points, you're getting closer. You're getting closer. You're getting closer, right?
Yeah, we are. I mean, it's hard to find a lot of positives in a 27-point loss, but we were down 15 at half, and we came out and scored 2 buckets and cut it 30-19 and thought, okay, just kind of chip away. I mean, our goal was to slow the game down. We were going to delay it, and we forced too many shots up at times, and lost the Twins in transition a couple times, and you just cannot do that. But they were really trying. They were bought into the game plan we had, and it just kind of slowly got away from us, as opposed to the last game. It was over pretty quickly. So, we had a tough week. We feel like we let the game Tuesday night slip away. That was tough. And then tonight. But I still think we're getting better. And I feel good about where we're heading, and I really like my kids. So it's, it is what it is. Brentwood's tough to beat.
They are. What's hard to disagree with, you're getting better. I mean, you guys 7-7 in the league, 12-11 overall, and Tate and I have talked about that. To me, you're one of the surprises of the league. I think some people thought coming in that you guys might win 3 games, 4 games the entire year in the league. I mean, I don't think that's a stretch to say that. Do you, Tate?
No, and I think them and Independence, they're kind of the surprises. But the thing I love about it is Brentwood's won 19 games in a row. You can tell by the way he's acting. They didn't go into that game expecting to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the Battle of the Woods.
Upset about it. And so I love that. And I think that's part of it. The thing I think is cool is everybody knew Erickson can score. And then, your Spring Hill win, you beat Dixon, who wasn't too long ago. People were talking about were they up there with Brentwood and Page and with Elizabeth Flynn and Reagan Grimes. Now you got 3 that, I've always said this, especially on the ladies' side, if you get 3 in double digits, you probably got a pretty good chance. So, when you're playing really, really well, again, I know you didn't want to lose tonight, but they've won 19 in a row for a reason.
Yeah.
I think when they're on, they can play with anybody come tournament time, and that's pretty scary.
Coach, talk about those three in double figures, because we talked about that last time you were on the show. You are starting to get that third, and it's a different person a lot of times. It's not always the same third person. We know about Erickson, we know about Grimes, but you're getting a third double-digit score on a lot of nights now.
Yeah, we are. I mean, Elizabeth Flynn is a freshman. You know, we didn't have her the first half of the year. You know, yeah, and then it could be Elizabeth, it could be Mary Prestegard, it could be Rachel Hillman, Ella Craig. You know, Ella Craig, even when she's not scoring, she's a big presence for us inside. She's really tough, and I've really liked the way she's progressed as the year's gone on. But yeah, I mean, we got a lot of different girls that can step up, and obviously Lexi and Reagan can always depend on them to give us big nights. But, you know, I think also our senior Chasmin Brown, she doesn't score a lot, but she's the person we put on their best player, the other team's best player, and she embraces that role. She's our only senior, and she's a transfer. Obviously, we've had a lot of turnover, and we've got a lot of players that are playing their first varsity minutes this year, and we're just continuing to learn. And, you know, that was tough for them. And I got girls with a lot of high character, and I couldn't be more pleased and honored to be their coach than I am, just because of the way they've responded. And, you know, really what it's about is how we're going to play 2 weeks from tonight.
Yeah.
And how we're going to play in that first district playing game. And I know we'll play a really good team. And, you know, that's the one thing. We got really good coaches in this district. And it's just, you know, got to be ready for all sorts. And John Wild throws a triangle into us Tuesday night. And you got Miles throwing every defense in the book at us tonight. So, I mean, it's just got to be ready for that. And our girls are adjusting, and they've been a lot of fun to coach. So.
Well, Coach, you talked about, and Tate brought this up that game last week, great win at Dixon County, right?
It was at home.
Oh, that was at home?
We should have beat them at Dixon. We had the lead with 1 second back in December, and we should have won that one. But anyway.
Let's talk about that win, though, because as I'm looking at the standings, there's a real possibility that you and Summit could tie, right?
Yeah.
You could tie. If there's any kind of tie, did you guys split? I should know my homework here.
Yeah, we split. We beat them.
So the difference maker could be that win over Dixon.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference in your mind between 5th and 6th? I mean, maybe you'll finish 4-2. Let's just assume it's 5 or 6. Is there a big difference in terms of the matchup for you? Obviously, you match up well against Dixon.
Yeah, I mean, we do. I guess we do. No, I don't know. I mean, I try not to think about that. You know, we've played Independence twice, and they've gotten us both times. And you talk about us being the surprise. What Coach Glazer has done at Independence is phenomenal. I mean, I think that, you know, the addition, obviously, with their freshman Banks and all that, I'm just really impressed with how well they've played. So I don't know if it matters. I mean, I'm not really thinking about that, and I'm gonna pull the old cliche and say we're on to Paige. We're worried about Paige Tuesday night. That's enough to handle right now.
It is.
So
It is.
And then I want to thank Coach Whitlock for scheduling Loretto. Really appreciate that. #1 team in single A. Also, we had to travel to Loretto, which is basically in Alabama. So
I was going to ask you about that. Schedule them not once,
no, hold on,
but twice.
on the national championship night, let alone. Okay, so thank you for that.
Coach Whitlock
Patrick.
is getting hammered up here.
Yeah.
He's hammering you, Coach.
Listen, they got a big win tonight, so I can make fun of them tonight.
Now, you're younger than us, but I'm going to give you a little advice. You do realize he's going to end up having the microphone live.
Oh, that's right.
I know.
He'll have the mic.
We got it handed to us tonight, so I'm hoping he'll be nice to me when he's up here. But I can be mean to him because they got a huge win
They
and
did.
Proud of those boys. You know, I've coached them the last few years too, so I was really happy to see them get that win.
You know, we were talking
Nick Dang
about-
was killing it. I just want to say that, by the way.
We were talking earlier this week. You know, it's pretty interesting, and this is no. Here we go again, Tate. No disrespect, right? But you know, for years, the boys' side of the district was really the better side, right? Year in, year out. But if you look at state rankings right now, 3 girls teams ranked in the state.
Yeah.
Brentwood, Page, Nolensville. The mid-state rankings, which I think are a pretty legit ranking, right? It's all schools, all classes, whether it be public, private, large, small. 3 girls teams in there. A lot of respect. And you talked about the coaching in the league.
Yeah.
The coaching in the league is really good. You're coming in the league now as a head coach in really an exciting time.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm honored to be one of the head coaches in this county and have the opportunity to do that. And yeah, I mean, it's, you know, when we beat Dixon County, you know, our girls were excited about that game. And then it's like the reality sets in the next day of we got to get ready for the next game. Sometimes you're just like, kind of want to enjoy this a little bit longer. So, you know, and so that is the tough part. I mean, you cannot relax. You got to keep grinding to the next game, and it's because we got really good coaches and good players and kids in this league. So.
Any final questions, Tate, for Coach James?
Well, no, he mentioned 2 of them, but you got 3 games left. Page, Loretto, Centennial. Got a chance to finish 500 or better. I think you take that going into the tournament. But obviously Page and Centennial district games, the Loretto game, how do you go about handling that? That's another night to get better. You know, dang sure don't want to get anybody hurt. You know,
No.
How do you handle that?
Well, you know, Loretto has a girl that has been offered by UT. So that's exciting to be able to play some players.
Weathers?
Yeah, Weathers.
Weathers,
She's
sophomore?
sophomore, offered by UT. Pretty big deal. So, I mean, that's one of those games we're going to go and we're going to try to, you know, we're going to treat it like any other game. I think our mentality is we treat every game the same. So when it comes down to a do or die situation, it's nothing new to us. We've been doing this for every game. So that's kind of our mentality, and we got a big challenge. You know, ideally having Brentwood, Page, Loretto back to back is not ideal. But we'll be up for the challenge, and we'll play well. You know, against Page, we played them last time. We kind of hung in there. Like, you know, we had, you know, I think they're going to be tough, but it is. I think we'll be up for the challenge and we'll play as hard as we can. And again, we're getting better and getting ready for that, preparing for 2 weeks from tonight.
Hey, and I know you think this. We've talked about it. I think this needs to be said too. Sometimes this happens in high school basketball, you know. But you mentioned there's a lot of uncertainty going into the year. You got the job late. You know what I'm saying? And that matters, you know. And so I really think, like you said, the adversity these young ladies and you have faced to be where you are in the season going into the tournament. You know, you mentioned Coach Glazer's job, and you know, I think what you've done this year has been really special too. So I'm excited to see what y'all do in the tournament, but that has not gone unnoticed here.
Well, I appreciate it, and credit goes to my kids. They're great kids, and they're great to be around, and I'm really proud of them. I mean, we haven't even talked about our record, and you know, you look at it and think, okay, you would hope it'd be, you always want it to be better, but I mean, you're right. We've faced some things, and we've pushed through, and I think we've become stronger for it. And you know, we're only losing 1 player after this year, and that's also exciting for the future. So,
Who is one of the kings of upsets in the district tournament?
Patrick Whitlock.
I'm sure he'll be talking to him.
Oh, I definitely will. So we'll definitely be doing that. So thank you guys for
Thank you
having
for
me,
being here.
and-
Appreciate it,
yeah,
Coach
absolutely.
James.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks.
Tate, let's do a little recap of the girls' standings here. I want to keep it up to date, right? Brentwood now 13-0 in the league, looking like district championships pretty inevitable. Page 11-2. Independence 9-3 on the league, or on the year in the league. 8-4 for Dixon. Ravenwood 7-7, Summit 6-7, Spring Hill and Franklin 2-11, Centennial 0-13. Going to be a good tournament.
I think it's going to be a great tournament, and I think there's going to be some upsets.
You know,
I think they're that close.
The thing
outside of Brentwood.
You know, and all the girls coaches in here that maybe aren't these two teams hear this. I'm sorry. I've predicted Brentwood and Page to the state tournament, right?
Yes, you did.
I've been saying that all year. And Owensville, I've said 3 teams. But you know what can happen? You lose the wrong game. And you get in a situation where maybe you have to play in the semifinals of the region. So you never know. You got to win the right games at the right time.
No doubt about it. And like I said, I think once you get past that first one, I don't think anybody is a lock. He seems pretty confident down there in Thompson Station. It's going to be fun to watch. And when Summit gets back healthy now, you know, one of them just mentioned, he just mentioned Coach Wild is trying on 2. He's going to have something.
Well, and I appreciate Coach James. I can remember those days, a young coach just getting started. Matters to him, doesn't it?
You can tell he's hurt.
It matters
man.
to everybody.
He's hurt, but he showed up.
He showed up. We can't say that for everybody, by the way. Not everybody showed up.
Some of them had a long trip.
But most showed up, right?
Did, yeah.
Hey, before we move on to the boys' coaches, let's talk a little bit, and we appreciate. We'll call him because you get in a situation where, as a parent, you're so and so's dad, right? So Brian Garcia Sr., Mr. Chris Garcia, here with us tonight. We appreciate him being here. Son was one of 14 that signed at Ravenwood yesterday. And, you know, these signing days are great. When I went to that. I went to Ravenwood. You talking about legit signing day. Just the schools you could name. And I'm so proud and happy for Brian Garcia getting that late offer from South Alabama. Don't count that young man out, right?
Oh, no, without a doubt. And I don't think he'd mind, but I love stories like that because, it's hard to do. We all love our kids, and we want better for them than we have. And Coach Wild, not to bring him up again, but most
we
don't
talk
know this.
a lot about
he's
Coach Wild.
He's a huge high school football fan, maybe a bigger high school.
Huge fan.
And he's a huge recruiting fan. And so anyways, sometimes it's tough, but you got to stay patient. And I'm pretty sure that came about the last weekend, right? Yeah. It's a marathon, man. And so it's awesome. I mean, the product's there. You know, it's all on film. He's the region MVP. He's all state. He's just not as tall as they'd like him to be, and nothing he can do about it. But so
I coach one of those short guys.
That's exactly right. Stayed the course. He's getting his opportunity. He's going to a great program.
He is.
They're pouring a lot of money into facilities, and yeah, he'll be fine, man. Get down there, get bigger, stronger, it doesn't matter, faster. But yeah, it's a great story, and I hope people pay attention to it because again, he's all-state quarterback in 6A, and it literally came down to the last weekend.
And if I'm not mistaken, Coach Daniels yesterday, and I love. Have you ever been to one of their signing days? You hadn't. It's fine.
I have. No, they do it right. They have for a number of years.
I love how they do it. Where Reggie Mason does a great job being the MC, the DJ. DJ Reg does a great job out there. But it's very formal in how they do it. They're all sitting up there on the stage. They got the logos behind them. They get up and they take the pictures in a certain way every time. The coach talks about the player. That's the first time I've seen that, by the way. It's pretty impressive how they do it.
Yeah, first class, and they learn from other people, right? And so, don't be ashamed if you see something you like somewhere to take it and make it your own and make it better. But it's about the kids. They do a great job with it. And let's be honest, it's easy to do when you got 7 kids, 8 football kids. Everything from Oklahoma to South Alabama, Duke. So yeah, it's really cool. And marketing, which I know is something near and dear to your heart, Coach Daniels definitely does not lack in that department. He knows how to do it.
He's great with the microphone too, by the way.
Oh yeah, and he likes it.
Oh, he likes the mic. He's not scared of it. So we had 62 commitments, by the way. That's 120 for the year now. So big
Very
time.
strong.
Hey, talk a little bit. I think I put it in your notes there. Kate Devine, the Brentwood goalkeeper, who is now she's committed to Vanderbilt, but she was recognized. We appreciate Garth Bolton,
and the
right?
boys.
Right.
She's the female athlete of the year, Gateway Tire female athlete of the year for fall. There's going to be a spring one. Do you know who the boys athlete of the year was?
Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia, yeah. So, but let me tell you something, man, and I know you know it. Garth, he puts a lot of time.
He does.
Into that.
He loves high school sports in WCS.
He loves it, WCS, and you know, not only does he give out the award every week, he every Monday he goes to the two schools and presents it to them. And you know, we're all busy.
Takes it serious.
Anybody who's ever been over to Gateway Tire knows they're busy. He could be doing other things. So, but Kate, you know, a lot of deserving athletes on the female side, but I think that was a no-brainer. You know, one game away from the state championship. I mean, well, they were in the state runner-up, and I don't have it in front of me, but AAA soccer in the best district in the state, multiple shutouts. That's hard to do. She's a heck of a player, very well deserved.
3 or 4 goals for the year until the championship
year. AAA soccer.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So congratulations to her, well deserved. And again, thank you to Garth and the boys for doing that award. It's a neat deal. First year for the women's, and I think it's been very well received.
Tate, we're at Kings Bowl, the 3rd edition, the 3rd annual Rivalry Friday. It's been great. We had the big rivalry games tonight. We'll talk to the boys' coaches here in just a minute. Appreciate Walker Chevrolet for all they do, and WCS, Mathews Team Sports, and Adidas. Obviously, Kings Bowl for hosting us tonight. Lance West and WCTV handling the live stream. On the boys' side, we're going to kind of handle this how folks have shown up. We're going to start with Coach Whitlock of Ravenwood High School. Coach, if you'll make your way up here. Coach, a big Vandy fan. We might get to talk about the new athletic director at Vanderbilt.
Beat me to it. You beat me to it.
You know, we'll get his opinion about the change in athletic director. Coach, congratulations on the big win tonight. Battle of the Woods. Correct me if I'm wrong. 52-45. Is that right?
That is correct.
You know, I watched you guys. I was at that first game. And there really didn't look like a lot of difference between your two teams. And I have said for a while, and maybe you've messed it up by winning too much lately, I've gotten this feeling that you guys are going to be head-to-head going into the tournament, which I don't think would be a bad matchup for you. And obviously, you lose in overtime at home. You win by 7 tonight. I looked at this the other day, and this is a testament to you and your team and your staff. Coach Hooper, I know he's here. As well. Yeah, I don't know if you have any other assistants here or not, but I know Coach Hooper's here. I saw him earlier. You guys are 2-7 in the league. You're staring at 2-7. You've got Franklin and Dixon coming up. You just lost to Independence, which is probably one of those games that you say, maybe we need to win that game. You get beat by 11. You stare those games in the face. You win both games. You beat Spring Hill. You end up losing to Summit, tough Summit team, and then you bounce right back and beat Brentwood. So if my math's correct, you are 4-1 over your last 5 games. That's impressive with a young team.
It is. I mean, it's just a testament to our kids. You know, we've got a lot of we started the district season with a lot of inexperience, and now we're, 12, 13 games into it, and those kids have grown a lot over the past couple of weeks. So I'm really proud of them. It was nice to get that monkey off our back. Brentwood been talking a lot of trash about how they beat us for 3 years now, and
I knew you were going to say, how many days did they say that was?
I don't know. I didn't look at their Twitter account this week.
But last time you did.
And they're still kind of living in the past about some of the stuff they tweeted tonight. But that's fine. I was happy to get that win and kind of just be able to talk about something else. But at the end of the day, we always talk about being 0-0 at the end of the night, and we'll refocus tomorrow and start getting ready for Page on Tuesday.
I didn't see the scoring for the night, and you may not even know it. I'm assuming Gaynor had a big game. Probably Nick Dang is Dang here?
They are. They're sitting over there.
With
had
him,
to buy him some food because they actually showed up.
Oh, okay.
But that's all good.
Those guys, I love how your guys play. And we talked about this before. Obviously, a lot of talk about Rex Gaynor. I love Rex. He can shoot the ball. Good young man too. Every time you see him, he's always got a smile on his face.
He's all right.
He's all right. Okay.
Yeah, we'll keep him.
When that Brentwood game, I was really impressed with Dang. I don't know what his stats were that night, and maybe they were good, maybe they were bad. I love how he handles himself. out on the floor.
Yeah, he's a tough kid. He's a competitor. I mean, he competes in everything he does. He's a really good soccer player and competes at that as well. And tonight he led us in scoring. He had 20. And every time we needed a basket or needed to break them down off the dribble, he was able to accomplish that.
Tate?
I love that about here. Where else do you hear really good basketball, really good soccer player?
Yeah.
You don't hear that very
We
much.
haven't had too many two sports stars.
Yeah, but when they are,
yeah.
How many has it ever been basketball and soccer before?
Not till now. Not that I can remember.
You know, that's sort of atypical, but Coach Tiger, he'll be up here in just a minute. That team at Dixon County, it's a team full of soccer players, and you can kind of tell it the way they play, running up down the floor. But that's it. It seems like a little bit of an odd mix, honestly, because you said you hadn't heard of it.
I mean, I think from a footwork perspective, it really helps.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously Nick is probably one of the better defenders in our district, and I would attribute that to him playing soccer.
Yeah, it's a little different. Coach, you're the dean of coaches. I love saying that. You're 14 at Ravenwood, right?
Yeah.
The dean of coaches. And I know, and I love this about you because you embrace it. You love that Battle of the Woods game.
Well, I loved it tonight. I haven't loved it the last 6 times. It's made for some long nights, but it's a great community event. Obviously, really good crowd. These kids grew up playing against each other, and I know a fair amount of parents that have kids at Brentwood just through, my daughter's dance and stuff like that. So it'll be a little bit easier to go to dance competitions the next couple of weekends whenever Ray has a dance. So.
Do you wear one of those like dance dad shirts?
Absolutely not. No. Those
have a theme? Is it a hula? What is it?
Man, I'm getting in pretty deep here.
You don't know?
No,
Yeah,
I have
okay,
no
all
idea.
right. No, but you saw it on both sides. Andrew and now with him too. I mean, yeah, it's a big deal, and he's been in more of them than anybody now. It's always been a big deal. But that's what's awesome about it, man. One of the best rivalries in the state. And you mentioned about how they're 4-1 in the last 5 games. Seriously, we talk about it. They always seem to play well come tournament time. Dixon County at one time was tops in the league or tied for first place. Brentwood was first. Franklin up there. So seems like you're really coming together, getting ready for the tournament. This is your 14th, so what do you want to see in the next, 3 games? And by the way, that wasn't right, scheduling Loretto twice for him first year.
Yeah, I don't think you understand. So when Coach Tips emailed me and said, we have these dates available, I was like, perfect, because that's our open dates. We'll play you. And then, a week later, Coach Wild texted me, he goes, do you know how far Loretto is? And I had no clue. I thought it was relatively close, within an hour. I didn't know that it was literally in another state, almost.
It's Alabama.
It is really close. And
they got a great team.
And we played them on a Monday night. We got to miss the national championship game. I got a technical foul while we were down there. It was, first of all, awesome gym, awesome atmosphere, little cracker box, straight out of Hoosiers. And, we get them again on Thursday.
What's the best gym down there?
I like Giles County. I don't think it's down. Oh, Summertown, of course. You've seen their gym, Coach?
No, I've not.
It's great.
Maybe we'll schedule them next year. How's their girls team?
They're really good.
Yeah. Well, we'll schedule them for sure.
Yeah, Coach James, you'll put them. Hey, why don't you bring one of your guys up here? Invite one of them up here.
Bring Gaynor up here because I got a question for him. I talked to his little brother the other day.
Come on, Rex.
Come on up, Rex. I'll read off the league standings here as Rex comes up. Brentwood 11-2, Dixon 9-3, Summit 10-3, Centennial and Franklin both 7-6, Ravenwood 6-8, Page 5-8, Indy 3-9, Spring Hill 0-13 so far. Rex, thanks for coming up here, man. Tate, you got a question for Rex, right?
So I bumped into your little brother earlier this week. He can play. I said, who's better, you or your brother? He goes, right now? I said, no, man. 8th grade Rex, 8th grade you. He goes, oh, me. He didn't even hesitate.
That's probably true.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's pretty strong.
I'm assuming he can shoot too.
He can shoot.
Not as good as me.
Oh, not as good as you. Okay. Rex, talk about this because you're one of the veterans of the team. I was mentioning this to Coach. You guys are 2-7. You lost to Independence, right? They beat you by 11 points, and you're looking at a tough stretch with Franklin and Dixon coming up. you win those games, and, hey, you look up, and you guys have won 4 of your last 5. Tell me what your mentality was as a team at that time.
Well, we've had this motto now for a few games. It's called that our record is 0-0.
Yes.
And Coach made a button with his voice on it that says 0-0.
Wait a second. He made a what?
Like it's like a Staples easy button that we have to click. It's really bad.
So, Coach, wait a second. How do you?
Is it here?
How do you make this thing? Is it like just a recording? What is it?
I did not make it. I purchased it off of Amazon.com, and you can record it. It's like the Staples,
yeah, you told me
that
about
was
that.
easy button.
But it's.
And after each game, they have to punch it, and it's my voice going 0-0, and it's really bad. You know how you hear yourself talk, and you're like, that doesn't sound right, but it's just trying to get us refocused. It's
obviously
the kids
working.
Get a kick out of it.
Rex, tell the audience what you think about that Battle of the Woods game. Is that the best one of the year for you guys?
Absolutely. It meant a lot going in. We saw the Twitter with the count of days of the last time we beat them, and it got up pretty high, so we were glad we stuck it to them this time.
Yeah, you obviously did. Obviously playing well. And I was telling Coach, I was at that game that you played at your place. You could have won that night.
I think we should have won that night. We let it slip away, but we definitely kept that in mind going into their place tonight, and I think it showed.
Rex is a senior. I mean, you guys obviously have a pretty young team, right?
Yes, sir.
You take that leadership role on pretty seriously?
Yes, sir. It's actually me and another senior, Tate Williams, just kind of bringing the younger guys along because we obviously have a pretty young team.
Yeah. What's it like when you're 2-7? What do you do as a leader there? Because, I mean, 2-7 in the league, to be 5-8 now, I'm impressed by it because of your youth.
Well, we never really thought about it. We just were talking about growing each day, because we obviously had younger guys. Everybody makes the tournament, so if we start clicking at the right time, then it's going to show up.
Tate?
Big upset, well, I don't know. Wasn't upset to you all, but big win in the tournament last year. Seriously, not just saying this because he's here. There's been a lot of those in the last 14 years. So 2-7, we don't care. We're 0-0. Kind of funny that a Vandy fan uses the 0-0 mantra. But anyways, y'all are a really good tournament team. You've been a part of those.
Yes, sir.
So next couple weeks, getting ready for it. What do you want to see out of your team? You're the leader, one of the leaders. You're a senior. What do you expect the next week and a half getting ready for the tournament when it is 0-0?
Just keeping the same mentality as that we've had the last couple weeks. Continue growing as a team, and I think we can shock some people come tournament time.
One final question for Coach Whitlock, and we were talking about this recently. Tell that story, because I saw Matt Davenport in here. He's here with the Franklin crowd, but he's a graduate of Brentwood High School, right? So, and by the way, he likes to beat Brentwood more than anybody. It's the strangest thing. It's like violent. That's another story for another day. But talk about Coach King. He was looking for win number, what was it?
500.
Yeah, so talk about that. It was like a 2-game stretch against you guys, right?
Yeah, we played them. It was 2012. We played them on senior night, and they were number 1 team in the district, and we beat them. And then we played them a week later in the district tournament. It was at Franklin, and I saw Davenport in the lobby, and I was like, why are you here? And he goes, oh, we're having a bunch of players came back. We're going to have a party for Coach King for his 500th win after the game. So I basically dropped everything I was doing, went in the locker room and said a few things, and we were able to win that game too. So Coach King had to beat Indy in the consolation game on Monday night. But Coach King is, he's an awesome coach. He made me a better coach by how great he was. And, the Battle of the Woods really wasn't quite what it was until he came back and really made it something special. And I mean, he's a legend and a guy that I have a lot of respect for. So I'm just glad he didn't get it against me. That would have been tough to take.
Thank you, Coach Davenport, for the assist. It was Matt Davenport then, though, not Coach Davenport, right?
I told him every time I go to Brentwood, I just look for his picture up there in the lobby.
If they knew it was up there, I bet they'd take it down.
It's too high to reach, man. He graduated so long ago. It's way up there.
What's that, Tate? Speaking of technicals. What? Tell us about it. What?
How many technicals did you have, Matt?
As a player?
Yes.
Didn't you say Coach King told you he thought Davenport was going to be the death of him? Or am I making that up?
They had an interesting relationship. Love, hate, is that fair? Yeah. he'd go from being Coach King was going to kick him off the team, then he'd go out and score 25, 30.
Had those
10
goggles
rebounds.
on.
And then he's hugging his neck again. but the Battle of the Woods has always been like that in football and basketball. It really is more than any other rivalry. Throw the records out. That's fair, right? It's been like that in football and basketball this year. You know, I mean, it's always been like that, right?
We appreciate you guys being here. Congratulations on the big win tonight. Thanks, Rex. Coach Whitlock. Thanks, man. Appreciate you being here. We'll go Coach Tigert up next, Franklin High School, then Coach Fay of Summit. I saw him in here earlier. Then we'll go Coach Kyle. This is Rivalry Friday, our after game show, right? Big rivalries tonight. Battle of the Woods, right? Summit Indy, that one is the border battle.
Border battle.
And then the Battle of Franklin.
Why is it the border battle?
Well,
Battle of 840 was taken.
Well, right, because that's why I was so confused when I took over this spot. I'm like, I get off 840 to go to those schools. I'm confused. It's because it was taken. Coach Tiger,
right.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the big win tonight. What's this with overtime now?
Well, we're just trying to make it exciting to make sure fans come back and get their money's worth. But yeah, it's what a game. It wasn't triple overtime like the Indy game.
Took it easy tonight. Just
took
one.
it easy. Just one session of overtime, but it sure was exciting. Rebs came out on top, no complaints.
What kind of crowd was there tonight? I'm sure it was
great crowd, student section, obviously engaged as usual. It was hot in there. Wow. We got to get the air conditioning working in Franklin again because it was absolutely roasting in there. So, but good times. Rebs come out on top. No complaints when you're able to beat your arch rival.
Coach, talk about your week. Let me go back and talk a little bit about that Independence game. I was following that game, through that scoreboard app, right? That like
Sure,
you guys have
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
And then I find out that they've got like a Dash 2 Sports, I think it is. They've got a broadcast. I started listening. It's kind of a back and forth game. Kemp hits that big three. Was that in the first overtime or the end of regulation that tied the game?
I think he hit one at the end of regulation, into the first overtime, hit a couple in the third. We're calling him Mr. Overtime right now. Reed Kemp really is, just stepped up when it matters for us. 37 tonight. But yeah, going back to the other night,
wow.
Doug really had his guys ready. They were locked in. Independence. We had a pretty good lead, and they wouldn't go away, and they play so hard. Next thing you know, you find yourself in overtime, and fortunate enough, we've got a player like Reed Kemp that steps up when it matters.
Well, the thing I think is cool too. He only had 17 going into the overtimes, right?
That's correct.
What'd you say he ended up with?
31.
31, I think. Yeah. And I'm guessing he didn't have a whole lot of rest in regulation, did he?
No, we typically don't take Reed out very often.
That's a good move, Coach. Good move.
I mean, seriously, that's three more.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. I mean.
Tonight we set him down for about 3 to 4 minutes in the second. We were able to buy some time, and we're trying to find some spots where we can rest him. But yeah, I mean, a triple overtime game with logging the minutes at the point guard position, where you're commanding the ball. You've also got the other team's best defenders on you. So yeah, and tonight you could tell he wore down a little bit. But he made shots when we need him to.
And remember, Coach, the more you score, the more you ignore.
Well, that's like we talked about the other day. Some coaches take that approach, and that's an interesting one. But Reed drew a huge assignment defensively tonight, and did a good job.
Yeah, you talked about that the other day about how you're so pleased with his improvement outside of scoring, and he wants to be a great player.
Yeah. I mean, and to be a great player, you have to bring it on both ends. And I would say the last 4 or 5 games, he has really made a decision to lock in defensively, and become more of a complete player. And that's what you need from an MVP type of player. And I think Reed has been, he's MVP worthy. He has had an absolute great season, and doing it on the defensive end now it's really big for the Rebels.
It's hard to really argue, I think, Tate, that he's not the MVP. I think he's got to be, honestly. I mean, you could look and go, well, what if you guys end up 5th? What if you end up 4th? I really don't see how he's not the MVP, Tate. I don't.
I agree. You know, there's a lot of good ones, but you know, what's the criteria? Is it the best player? You know, we argue about this with the NBA all the time, right? So, is it best player, best team, whatever? But yeah, I mean, you sit there and you're looking at the stats leaders in the Tennessee, and I think they do a great job with it. I love it. And I think going into this week, he was number 8 at 22.2 points per game.
Yeah.
That's strong, man. And,
Yeah.
and all he did was up that this week. So, yeah, I don't know how he's not, but I don't have a vote on that.
Well, and it's the efficiency that he's doing it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the thing.
And the thing
so,
you mentioned that's cool about it, he's 22.2 points. Again, that went up this week, and he's drawing the best defender.
And handling the ball and
I mean, I'm
defending.
getting who guarded him tonight? Poor.
They used a number of defenders, but most of the night, yes.
He's probably
And he's
the
the-
best defender in the league.
No doubt.
So,
Yeah, he, you know, I think to me, and maybe this is simplifying it too much, who are you most worried about? And in my opinion, if you ask all the coaches of all the people you play, who are you the most worried about? It's him. I really do believe that.
Well, I'm glad I don't have to prepare to defend him. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You know, he creates a lot of problems because he can attack the basket, gets to the free throw line, and shoots the 3 well. So he's kind of that triple threat.
Well, and you got some other guys. Let's talk about some other guys. You obviously have more than Reed Kemp. Stockton and Malone, I like to call them, Reed, Kemp, and Matt Thurman. Obviously, Matt's got a lot of experience there at Franklin, doing a good job as always. But then you and I talked about this week. Guys like Mason Jones, Taylor Spirito, right? Aiden Smiley. Those are those guys you love, right?
Oh, no doubt. You know, those blue collar guys that you got to have to be successful. And like I said on the coaches show the other day, yeah, you just can't have enough of those guys. Taylor, another big night. He always is. Taylor and Aiden are drawing the toughest assignments defensively, consistently, and you know, Aiden averaging a little bit over 7 rebounds a game. Taylor just does a little bit of everything. And he mentioned Matt Thurman, you know, averaging about 15 a night, close to a double-double guy. And so, yeah, great pieces, but you can't say enough about those blue-collar kind of guys like Taylor and Aiden, and Mason as well, and Connor. I mean, just it's more than just Reed Kemp show over at Franklin, and I'm glad you mentioned them.
Well, and Tate, you know this, being around a lot of different sports besides basketball, the great teams always have those guys.
oh, for sure. Well, know your role, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm a Lakers guy, but they're younger. We'll talk about the Bulls, right? Everybody had their role, and you know, you don't win with Jordan and Pippen, right? But until they started getting those other guys, and you mentioned, I'm glad Spirito, he keeps popping up in the stats, but we talked about it on Sports Connection the other day. I hope he doesn't take it as an I mean, Aiden Smiley, he's the human pogo stick, right? And he really does.
Gets
it doesn't
up
show up
quick.
in the stat sheet. The guy can jump out of the gym. He changes things around the room. And you know, you're not going to read about that in the paper, but you're right. That's a big part of
those
it.
plays. They don't put those in the newspaper, and but yeah, Aiden, he's probably our best offensive rebound because got energy and goes after it, attacks the offensive glass, and we're a team. You know, when we rebound well, we usually do well, and when we don't, then we're subject to possibly getting beat, and that's happened when we've lost. A couple recently. We have not been dominant on the rebounding end of the floor.
I think your team too, as much as any team in the league, is sort of built to beat those Metro teams in the region tournament. You've done it, right? You've already done it. But the way you rebound the ball when you're rebounding well, I think gives you maybe as good a shot as anybody at winning those games.
And that's why we preach rebounding so much, because in region play, if we're fortunate enough to get there, you've got to do those versus the Metro teams. Over here, I think our league shoots the ball a little bit better, but you've got to dominate rebounding in region play to advance out.
I've been asking most coaches to bring whoever they wanted to up here. I'm going to pick Franklin's guy.
You seem to know the personnel pretty well for some reason. So.
Taylor Spirito. I want Taylor to come up here. And the reason I want Taylor, obviously he's been playing well enough, but he is one of the biggest fans of our show, Tate.
Well, then that's a must. We got to bring him up.
He told me very openly, he said, look, I watch the show.
Thank you.
I watch the show all the time, so we want to see what he thinks about the show and what his favorite parts are.
He
and
might,
all that
he might
kind
be
of
mad
stuff.
about some.
Taylor, welcome. Good to see you, man.
We need to bring him in one week.
Playing well.
Can we do that? Is that
What's that?
Can we bring him in 1 week? Are we allowed to do that?
Sure. They probably won't let him out of school in WCS, though.
If
You
I'm
can't get out of
honest-
school.
If I'm being honest, I'm a little starstruck up here.
Oh, you starstruck. He said.
I'm a little starstruck up here.
He's
Do you
starstruck.
want to
he
come in
said.
and wear the boat captain hat?
Oh, that'd be awesome. Joins Gems. Just hold it up right here.
Strong.
That's great. Taylor doing a great job for the Rebels, man.
Thank you.
Coach talked about this. He loves how you so willingly take on the best offensive player pretty much every night from the guard position. Talk about that.
Well, Coach loves to put stuff on me, and I'm just willing to do whatever it takes to help the team get the win, no matter what it is. Like, if he's asking me to guard somebody, or if I got to be in the position, like the 3-2, if I got to or triangle and 2, if I got to take away somebody, like I'm always willing to do that.
Tate, this is a guy, and Coach Tiger talks about this too, and I know this from being around Taylor. He 100% cares about one score. That's the team score, right? It's not his points. He cares about the team's points. Talk about that a little bit, Taylor.
I mean, it's not my job to score. We got other guys on the team who are great at scoring, and I just like to find those spaces when I need to get a bucket. If Reed's driving and people are collapsing on him, I could find a little space in the zone and get a layup. But other than that, we don't rely on me to score. I just do what I can.
Tate?
All right, I got a question. He's comfortable with the mic.
Very comfortable with
confident. Of course, I knew Coach Tiger, but I didn't know him as well as I do now. I've loved getting to know him.
You're going to put him on the spot, aren't you?
I'm going to put him on the spot. You can handle it, right? Yeah.
I'm ready.
So,
He's ready.
obviously, your previous head coach, Coach Tiger, they're different. Both really good coaches, but different. Kind of give us a little bit. Obviously, one guy never met a shot he didn't like, but no, seriously, what's that been like? Great coach.
And you can
coach.
be honest, Taylor. You will not hurt my feelings.
Is he good? Are we in a safe place?
Can you narrow down the question a little bit?
Well, what's the difference? I mean,
Who
What's the
dresses
difference?
better?
Yeah, kind of.
Who dresses better? That'd be.
Coach Joines always coming out
That's
with a
Coach
suit.
Joines.
100%.
Obviously, a better fist pumper, but no, seriously. I mean,
They both got that stomp. They both got that stomp all the
I
time.
know.
That's a major
Competitive,
similarity.
but-
Oh, for sure.
Just a slight difference. So slight difference.
I mean, the glaring difference is the 1-3-1 that we're always in versus just a plethora of defenses that we're always
multi-defense
switching
guy.
in. But I love switching defenses. I'm big. When he's yelling it out and we're switching into it, I'm all for that. I love that. And then the 1-3-1 was great because I would play the middle and the bottom, and I'd love to take charges. That's
Yes,
the thing I
you
love to
do.
do, and I got to do that with the 1-3-1. But I like playing. I like playing defense.
It's
Taylor's
obvious,
going to
Coach.
run for office one day. Hey, before I get in trouble, I've got to get a shout out to my daughter, Darrin, over there. Hey, Kater.
Coach, congratulations, Taylor. Thank you for watching the show.
I love it.
Appreciate you being here. Keep it going. Definitely. Take a sick day. Coach, thanks, man.
Congratulations.
Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. Coach Jason Tigert, Franklin High School. Jim Fay, I saw Coach Fay earlier. Coach, if you're here, come on up. As Coach is making his way up here, Summit, after their win over Independence tonight, they're now 10-3 in the league, 15-6 overall, and they're sitting right now in that second and third position now with Brentwood with 2 losses now. I mean, it's really up for grabs, but I think it would be hard to argue that they're not playing the best basketball in the league, right? What's up, Coach? Thanks for being here. What do you think about
that's
that,
Metro,
Tate?
man. They've got those in Metro.
Not hardly.
They're not doing this show right now, are they?
I guarantee you they're not.
Coach, I was saying as you were walking up here, you know, you're sitting at 10-3 in the league. Brentwood's 11-2. Dixon 9-3. I may be off a game there somewhere, but it's really hard to argue that you're not playing the best basketball in the league right now.
Well, we're going in the right direction. You know, we started the season off with two tough district opponents at Centennial and Brentwood right off the bat and took losses. But before Centennial, I had 4 days to practice with my football players, which makes up the bulk of my team. And then we turn around about, 5-6 days later and play a tough Brentwood team. So this league is tough top to bottom. But once we had some time to kind of get together and gel a little bit, we started going in the right direction. It was probably a time thing, and our loss to Dixon County was without one of the Wade brothers, so that made a matchup problem right there. And I think Dixon kind of did a good job of harping on that matchup problem and took advantage of it.
No, that's what 10 of 11. We've won 10 out of the last 11. Not in the excuse-making business, but Dixon County not full speed. Not full health. And you knew this going in. A big bulk of their team is football players. They played up until the very last day or the second to last day. You can play on Friday in the state championship game. And that's tough. You've seen it. You had some of that at East Nashville. And we've always talked about it with those the Troy Allen Hillsborough teams. January is when it really started to take form, and this team's kind of has that look, and I guess that was the plan, right? Hey, we're not real worried about what happens in November and December. When we get back from break, we're ready to go.
I don't know that I really had a plan. I was just trying to figure it out. It was a lot of on-the-job training. It's not my first rodeo, but to have that many kids that play that big a part in my team and what we try to do, spend that long still on the football field and having such great success, I knew they would come with a winning attitude and a winning mentality, but I didn't realize I was going to have to start practice over from day one again. So that was kind of a tough thing. It was a new thing for me. So from this day going forward, it's important for us to get as much done that we want to carry over every year. We want to get as much done that way. The kids that do that will already know what we're going to do, and it won't be as much of a learning curve.
And, Coach, I think something that people may underestimate, too, not only did they come in late from football, you didn't really have them in the summer.
No,
right? Did y'all practice any?
We practiced once I got the job. We didn't do any camps. I'm not a big fan of team camps. I think the kids spend more time looking at the scoreboard as opposed to learning the logistics of what we're trying to do execution-wise. But I think we practiced about maybe 8 days, 9 days tops.
Was the football players with you any of those days?
Well, they were, but oddly enough, I had a lot of those guys getting dinged up, and they were not at full speed or full strength, so I had a lot of those guys that just had to sit and watch. I had Caleb Jolly, one of my best defensive players. He practiced 1 day with me.
Yeah. Coach, talk about just being in this district. I mean, you were at East Nashville. To me, you were one of those guys. I mean, you can name certain people and say you identify that program with that guy. I mean, I don't think anybody can argue when you think about East Nashville basketball, you think about Jim Fay. You do. But now you come over to Williamson County Schools, a little bit different situation. Talk about some of that transition, how it's been to be here.
Well, it's been great. You know, first of all, it starts with your school day and the school environment. All of that has been great. Great support from my administration. They've been behind me 100%, and that's been really positive, and I've enjoyed that. I've got a great working relationship with Coach Coleman, the football coach. Can't say that about every place you are. If you do not have a good working relationship with your football coach as a boys basketball coach, you're probably going to have a lot of struggles. You're going to have a lot of adversarial relationships, and it's not going to be a lot of fun. You know, that right there in itself was a big positive for me to come to Summit. You know, in terms of everything else, I'm just, you know, I knew about the Williamson County schools. We'd had good rivalry games with you guys, and we'd had some good competition. Played in your tournament last year over at Franklin. And it's just a matter of you want to try to fit in, but you also want to bring part of yourself and not just take over. Coach Goodwin did a great job at Summit before I got there. I've even used some of his schemes and things like that, trying to help the players so that they were not totally a fish out of water in terms of the things that they knew how to do and what they were willing to do. But then again, they had to, conform to my way of play and my style of play. The coaches, it was funny, I believe there was 4 boys coaches changed and 4 girls coaches changed in the county. And the changes still brought along really good coaches. Everywhere across the board, there were great coaches. There were good coaches that left. There were good coaches that came in. And it's tough. The coaching here is tremendous. And you have shooters on every team. I think every team.
That's something I noticed when I got here too.
And this is the shootingest league I've ever seen.
It is. Every team's got guys who can shoot it. Tate has worked out pretty well, hasn't it? Coach Fay showing up at Summit High School.
Yeah, well, we didn't have any doubt, and I think
no doubt at all.
If you know anything about him, you knew there was going to be some toughness. That's kind of how you do it, right? I mean, and with the thing that I think's neat is you had athletes at East Nashville. Obviously, you're athletic here, but it is kind of different, isn't it?
It's different. I think East Nashville, I had some smaller, quicker athletes. I had some really good shooters, and I didn't leave the cupboard bare. So this was an opportunity for me to come for a better environment for my family, and that was a big part of the change. But at Summit, I have bigger, stronger athletes, and in some cases, I still have some of the quickness. Probably not as the overall quickness I had at East, but it's something I can work with and transform and do different things that I need to do to be successful at Summit.
You know what I love too, Coach, is this, and you can tell it's authentic. As the football team was making that run, you were right there every step of the way. I think you had put out something where maybe it was the team getting on the bus or something. I was like, man, that guy loves being at Summit. It's a real feeling. You can't make it up, right?
No, and I'm going to tell you one of the coolest things for me was the state championship day. I took half a day. My wife and my son got out half a day early and came in from Nashville. And the coolest thing to me was we had all the students out in the parking lot, and my family, my wife and my son, got to come and cheer on the team. And I thought that was kind of Hoosier-like, so to speak, even though it's a different sport. It was a great atmosphere and environment for everybody. And I'm so thankful that I had an opportunity to be involved in that.
I think we forget about this too sometimes. Obviously, Trey Carlton, great basketball player. The Wade twins, they're sophomores, man. We forget about that. And they seem to grow every time I see them. But obviously known this year for football. But talk about their growth on the basketball court. They really they're not even close to being what they can be. Is that fair?
Oh, absolutely. These two guys. Well, first of all, they're better kids than they are basketball players, they're tremendous basketball players. I've said this over and over again. They're great kids, and that's something that's been really fortunate for me, is to come in, be in an environment with some really good kids, some good families. Everybody's supportive. They've been super supportive of me. No, they're not close to their potential. I have no illusions. I know they're going to be college football players. I know that's going to take place. I'm hopeful that they ride out the ride with us for the whole 4 years. And quite honestly, if it were not for probably the ceiling being higher in football for them, they would definitely be Division I college basketball players. They create so many things. They're so athletic. They create mismatches across the board. If somebody goes out and thinks they can cover them one-to-one, they can still drive to the basket. If they sag off of them, they can hit the three and knock it down. And they've made several of the teams that we play pay by giving them that much room. And when somebody comes out, if they try to match up size, then you're going to see them take people off the dribble.
It looks so effortless for them too. It almost looks, and I know this is not the case, it almost looks like they're not even trying. Because it's so effortless. I've never seen it.
They look like that in football too, though.
It looks so easy
for
them. And their demeanors, like you said, may be the best I've ever seen.
They're just big kids out there having fun no matter what they play. If they were out there playing horseshoes, you'd get the same demeanor. They're slinging the horseshoes, laughing, carrying on. They probably think I'm some kind of fool, which I may be, but we have a good laugh. And like I said, I enjoy. It's not work for me when I have good people to be around and work with.
So, as I mentioned, I'm a big Showtime Lakers fan, Pat Riley fan. In his book, sometime in the Showtime.
Is that The Winter Within? Is that the name of that book, or is it a different book?
I can't remember.
That was The Winter Within, I think, is when he was with the Knicks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it was called
I read
Showtime.
a book one time.
I think it was called Showtime. They had a motto: "We got a good thing going, and we're not going to let anybody take it away from us." You remember that? Okay.
I don't remember
Y'all got
that.
a good thing going right now.
Well,
Page and Dixon County coming up. What do you want to see the next
Franklin.
week?
And
Franklin.
and every
Franklin
night
too.
it's Murderers Row, and there's a lot put on the tournament, and the tournament's super important. But it doesn't really matter who we play in the tournament. We're going to play somebody really good. The only thing we have going for us going into the tournament, we don't know who we're going to play, but the only thing we have going for us right now is the high probability that it's going to be a home game. We got that going for us with what we've done so far, and that's a great thing. But every team we've competed against have been just super tough. Independence played us tough tonight. Page played us within 3 the first go around with them. We had overtime with Franklin. Dixon County was a 4-point game. We played, I think Ravenwood was single digits. They had a huge win tonight against Brentwood. Brentwood, speaks for itself with all the wins that they started out with and all the close games they won. So it's really, this district is just so tough top to bottom. You don't know who you're going to get, and careful what you wish for because you may not like it.
Well, and I know you appreciate the atmospheres here too, right? With the crowds.
Well, we had a great group of nuns at our game tonight. There was about 20-something nuns, kids dressed up as nuns. I asked them to please pray for me because I was trying to get through the game. I've never seen some of the outfits they have, but the atmosphere is great. I know we played at Nolansville last year when I was at East, and they had a tremendous student section as well. And I think what's kind of cool is everybody tries to outdo the other student section, and it's really a lot of fun. My fear is if my son doesn't play basketball for me, he's going to be out there dressed in no telling. He might be wearing a nun outfit. He might be.
Were they Summit nuns or Indy nuns?
They were Summit nuns. That's what I had going for me tonight.
Coach, we appreciate you being here. We're excited about you being in the league. Congratulations on a
Appreciate
great season so far.
Too. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Coach. Coach Jim Fay, Summit High School. By the way, I do want to again give a shout out to Walker Chevrolet, one of our lead sponsors here in WCS, Mathews Team Sports and Adidas, and then Kings Bowl for having us. I did see Parker Grass out there. Parker's a Franklin High School student who is an intern at Walker Chevrolet, does a great job of helping with some of these events, so I want to give a shout out to Parker for being here. Next up, we got Coach Kyle from Independence High School, looking good tonight.
Hey,
got his suspenders on. You got Noah with you?
Before Coach Kyle gets up here, he was mentioning those student bodies, and it really didn't start doing it like that. All seriousness, until Coach Qualls got here. Dr.
Really?
Qualls got here.
Don't give him credit.
No, I got to. They were good, but when he got here, they took it to another level, and then. Remember, he challenged the Rebel Nation.
Oh, that's
you
right.
got there, and you took it as a personal challenge.
Yes.
So both of you two have been very big in that, and I think Rutherford County used to have the best student sections. Probably that's fair, right?
Well, it's easy
It's
when
not
you
that
have
case anymore.
It's easy when you have good material. I mean, these students are just so into it, and makes it a lot of fun. Coach Kyle, appreciate you being here tonight. Noah, thanks for being here. I know you had a tough game tonight. The border battle. You guys, man, talk about your week. It had to be an emotional kind of up and down, right, Coach?
It has been. Excuse me. It's been difficult, but these guys have been so awesome. I mean, they're just coming to battle every night, and it doesn't. Every week's difficult, but go to 3 overtimes against Franklin. We had a really good battle tonight. Just fell short. Just couldn't put the ball in the basket enough. But really, and they really just with their as Coach Fay was talking about, their athleticism, they just killed us on the glass.
Was that the biggest difference, the rebounding tonight?
I think so, by far. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Noah, talk about playing in that game. I mean, that's obviously a great rivalry game. You came up short tonight, but it's pretty special to play in a game where the atmosphere is so great, like it is in the border battle, right?
It's so hard to communicate. I mean, it's so loud there. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah. You guys, I tell you, and I've said this to Coach Kyle, and I'll say it to you too, and it's really probably a reflection of the coach. I think teams are a reflection of their coach. I say this all the time. When you play a Doug Kyle team, they're going to play hard, no doubt about it. Do you realize you guys play as hard as you do? It's noticeable to me how hard you play.
Oh, yes, sir. Definitely after the game, I'm really tired. So that's a sure indication that we're playing pretty hard. Yes, sir.
That you're spinning it out there playing, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's great. It's great.
I think they know that if they don't play hard, they won't be tired because they won't be out there.
Exactly.
That's a great way of putting it.
I got a great way of putting it. I didn't know that. I just put this together. Is that your dad? Okay. So little Ricky Bowers out there in the audience.
Wait, what are you talking about?
He was a really good basketball player at Brentwood Academy.
Oh, okay.
In the 70s? No, 80s. Late 80s. Early 90s. Who's a better shooter?
He tried to say 70s.
It's not even close. I'm definitely a better shooter. You're a better shooter.
At what age did this take place?
Probably
at 12.
Yeah, I was probably in 4th grade when I started shooting pretty well. Maybe 3rd. I shot with 2 hands till like 2nd, 3rd grade.
Had to do that to get it up there, I bet.
It's not like you taught me.
That's smart, though. That's actually smart. Smart
Still
to
a good
wait.
stroke.
Smart to wait. Coach, you guys, if you look at the record now, 3-9 in the league.
We have to.
If the season ended today, and it doesn't end today, but you would travel to Dixon County, how would that feel? Does it matter to you? Is that a good matchup? Of course, it could change.
You know, every team we play, they're tough. I mean, this league is so tough. And
Actually, you know what? I said that wrong.
We would host Spring Hill.
I said that wrong.
Yeah.
You would host Spring Hill with the winner
And then,
getting Brentwood. And I'm going to tell you this. You host Spring Hill, that's a win. Now you got to play Brentwood. So let's just fantasize here, and let's say you're playing Brentwood first round of the district. How would you feel about that?
the same way I'd feel about playing any one of those other guys.
I knew that was coming.
You know me. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. You know, they're good. They're well coached. They're talented. We played them pretty tough at our place the first time. We were up 5 at halftime, and just once again couldn't find the hole. And that, you know, and that's. I think that's part of the basketball game. You know, you got to make baskets sometimes, and
no doubt.
we've struggled at times to do that. But it's not because lack of want to, or lack of effort, or lack of try. These guys, I mean, you know, you look at the record. You just told me we're in 8th place right now, and then we come battle like a first place team every night, every day in practice. So proud of their attitudes. They have a belief in each other, and they care for each other. I would never tell you that I would be, but we're 9-13. Boy, I really enjoyed coaching this, this year. But they're such a pleasure to coach. They want to do well. They want to do what you ask them to do, and they're great guys, and they care for each other. They believe in each other. I wouldn't want to play us in the tournament just because our kids, because of their passion and their effort. I mean, you look. I don't know. I'm just overtaken by it a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's pretty obvious too when you watch you guys play. If you watch you on film or watch you live, you don't know what the record is, and it's not like your record's that bad. I mean, it's really not. Obviously, you've lost some games, but and I felt for you the night. I was keeping up with that game, and it felt painful listening to it. You guys are up 3 points. You're trying to get a timeout. We don't have to get into that. You don't get.
By the way, he might have called tonight's game too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was fun.
Wow. Tell him what he won, Johnny. But you don't get the timeout. Kemp hits that big shot. Obviously, he's a big shot maker. But you got to look at that and go, and I know you wouldn't do this and say, oh, that made the difference. That's why we lost. But let's face it. You get a chance to call a timeout. Maybe you do win that game.
You never know. That's here or there. We move on. Tonight we're 100% focused on Summit, and and it's just and you can't live in the past. These guys, they know it. They move on. They're ready to go tonight. They were ready to go. It was a great, well-played game. We just fell short.
Yeah.
And, so I don't want, I would love to win those. There's a lot of games that we had a chance to win with this or that. We've just fallen a little bit short sometimes. Sometimes that's how it goes.
Yeah. Tate?
I want to know, obviously, you like to play at home. The video board's been a new cool addition this year. Where's your favorite place to play, not Independence?
I like to play at Summit. Just because
the Summit?
Their student section's awesome. And every time we play them, our student section's cool too. So I like playing in a loud room.
Not to Dixon County. I don't think they're watching the show.
No.
Who's the toughest guard that you match up with? Who do you like going up against? Whether, just fun rivalry or it's going to be a tough night. Who do you like to see?
Definitely, I think the toughest person to guard in our county is either Reed Kemp or Isaiah Poore.
Yeah.
Isaiah Poore is a freak athlete, so
He is.
very fun to go against him.
Tate, you've been around longer than I have in this league, but talk about, you got Franklin Centennial. That rivalry's been around a little bit. Obviously, I'd say Franklin and Brentwood too. Brentwood, Ravenwood. But this Indy Summit thing, it's coming on, right, in terms of a big rivalry here?
Oh, no, it's been there. Little brother, y'all still call them that? Or,
Oh, yeah.
That's the cool thing about all three of those games is, Summit was built to relieve Independence. And so, no, it's been there. And then, for a long time in football, it was not even close. And then that started getting
9-1.
9-1. There you go. See? Did you see? He didn't even have to.
Oh, he knew. 9-1. 9-1's a football.
Yeah. So, no, it's been there. I'm sure you probably went to middle school with some of those kids, but that's what I think's cool about it, and it's one of the newer ones too. So.
You know what's crazy to me too, and I noticed this with you guys when y'all played football this year. I had to act like I didn't see some of this, ignore it so I didn't have to get involved. But some of the things you guys say, it's so mean. It's like, but then it's like you aren't like buddies. Those student sections, they're like hammering each other on Twitter, and then the game's over, you see them, they're talking to each other.
There's no doubt, though, the Battle of the Woods is the most vicious on Twitter. Is that fair?
Theirs is pretty bad, too.
Yeah, our Twitter is not a thing anymore. So.
Oh, that's right. You got canceled, didn't you? Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. We'll drop that. But it's crazy to me. Coach, you've been in a lot of different leagues, right?
Yes,
coaching, but nothing's really like this one, is it?
No, I really enjoy this league just because of the student sections and the atmosphere, and all these kids know each other.
Yeah.
They've played with them, played against them, whether it be AAU, whatever, soccer, whatever it is, they know each other well, and so it's really a competitive and outstanding coaches in the league.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to be a part of.
Coach, we appreciate you guys being here. I know the district tournament's at your place, and I know you're looking at that saying, let's make it to our place, because then you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. If we either avoid the play-in game or we play the play-in game, then after that, you win one game and anything can happen.
You've seen it.
I think our guys believe, and I know I believe, I know they believe, that anybody out there, who are we going to play? Let's do that. We'll figure out a way to compete with them.
And I know it was before you got to Independence, I guess the year before, that you arrived as an assistant. That team that made the Final Four from Independence was the 4 seed. And with about 2 weeks to go in the season, I think they were 6th.
That's about right.
Lost 7 games in a row. Won their first round game on a last-second shot over Franklin. I was there for that one, unfortunately. And then you look up and they're in the semifinal. You just don't know.
You don't.
You just don't know. Coach, appreciate you being here, man.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you guys do.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Noah. Coach Hickman, Centennial High School, is up next. I believe he's our final guest for the night. Tate, this has been a lot of fun.
Always fun.
The 3rd annual Rivalry Friday. Walker Chevrolet, appreciate them. Mathews Team Sports and Adidas. Kings Bowl for being here. Lance West and WCTV for actually hosting the live stream. Been a lot of fun. finish up with Tyler Hickman. Now, Coach Hickman, I appreciate you being here. I know it was a tough game tonight. You guys battled back. In fact, I'm going to tell you this, and this is the compliment to your team. You're down 10 going to the fourth quarter, and I'm thinking, well, they'll be here on time, and I look up and we're going to overtime. What happened in that fourth quarter that you guys got to get back in that game?
Well, I think we fought. First of all, I'm happy that everybody's gone so I can say whatever the heck I want up here. That's a good
Maybe
thing.
they're out there bowling.
You know it's streaming.
Yeah, I know it's
Okay.
streaming. I got it.
Out there, by the way.
Just fought. Played like crazy, obviously. Really trying to contain Reed. Got back in it a little bit. They missed some threes that they hit early in the first half. But we really started kind of getting downhill, and I thought we played a great, really a great last quarter and a half. It was good, obviously, until, overtime.
Well, and Coach, just like all you guys, you're not in the excuse-making business, but it had to be a factor. No Dusty. Had to be.
Yeah, I mean, it plays a role, but I like where we are. I think our guys have really bought in. I think it's a good thing for us right now, kind of learning and growing without him. Not that we don't miss him, sure. I mean, he's definitely one of the most talented scorers in this district. But I think it's been good for us to learn and grow. And I think our team's really kind of taken on the challenge, and other guys have stepped up. I think we had 4 guys in double digits tonight. So that plays it plays a big role, and especially when you talk about tournament time, if Dusty comes back, those kind of things, that's a big add.
We talk about Summit a lot, and they pose people matchup problems, but I think when you all are 100% healthy and you've got all your guys, I think you all do. And like you said, you had 4 guys in double digits, and one of the best scorers, maybe the top 2 scorers in the league, is not playing. So I think you all do that going into the tournament. I think y'all are really scary. And then, the one thing that always comes up, no matter who we're talking to, who's the best defender in the league? There's only one answer every time. Talk about Isaiah, and it's got to be pretty good knowing going into the tournament that you got a guy that you can put on their best score, and it's going to be a long night for them. He's going to have to earn everything they get, right?
Well, you're asking me that on a night where Reed Kemp had 37.
But he can score.
Reed's special, though. He's special. He is.
Isaiah, I love the kid. Plays extremely hard all the time. Definitely a freak athlete. Probably the quickest player in the league when it's all said and done.
And the lob plays to him.
Those are fun.
Golly, it is fun. Never had many of those guys, by the way.
I love Isaiah. Obviously, he's super quick, but sometimes I think that works against him a little bit. On a kid like Kemp, who is a little bit, he knows how to play the game. He's smart, and so Isaiah is used to being able to jump one way, stop, and plant. But then Reed is, on his hip now, and so Isaiah has to kind of adjust. And so, I don't think there's any doubt that Isaiah is the best defender in this league. I don't think there's any question when it comes to athletic ability and those things. But, the thing that I like most about him is, one, he's an incredible kid. You talk about just a great kid to be around, yes sir, no sir. Always asking how you're doing. But at the same time, he's really bought into what we're doing. And it showed. I don't know the exact total he had tonight, but he's a lot of the reason we got back in the game. So, he's really pouring it on offensively with Dusty out as well. So,
talk about that game with Dixon. To me, that was maybe the most impressive one of the last couple of weeks for any team. Again, playing without Dusty, right? You're up 48-29 at the half. I know I keep talking about that game, but I had to take a double take on it. 48-29 at the half, and I know the second half you scored 16 points, but it's hard when you're up 20. Total domination of a really, really good team.
Yeah, I think that's what we hope. Tournament time, that's what you see. Obviously Pat shot it lights out, but I would tell you for the most part we took really good shots in the first half, and I think that makes a huge difference for our team because we have 5 guys that can shoot the ball. And so it makes a big difference. And we've kind of talked about it previously. Ben Brown being on the floor spaces everything out. You throw it to him, everybody collapses, and now you're getting wide open looks as opposed to just having to run 5-out motion. or a set or something to get somebody a wide look. So, I think that plays a role. And, we're growing. Tonight was only Ben's 4th game. So it's his 4th game, and it's our now 3rd game without Dusty. So, we're growing, and I love my team. Tournament game is another thing. When you have to win that first one, and obviously it looks like us and Franklin are going to be in the 4 or 5. So imagine how wild that atmosphere is going to be. But as we keep talking about with kind of our guys, get the one that matters.
Yeah.
That's what it's about right now.
Well, and I was going to bring it up. You did this to me the other day on the show too. I'm thinking about my next question. He already covers it. The 4-5 game. I'm telling you, it's Battle of Franklin's coming up, round 3, right?
Absolutely.
The Battle of Franklin.
Yeah. The only question now is where it's going to be, probably.
And I'm going to tell you,
I
that's
think,
the game I'll be attending.
That's
a great game.
There's still a chance, obviously, that you have 3 games left. Everybody, district games are district games, and they're tough. And so we all have, I think Coach Tiger would say the same thing, and he may have earlier about, the next 3 games are by far the most important. But yeah, there's no doubt that the Battle of Franklin will be a little rowdy that night.
It will. And I've done this 2 times in a row now, like talking about my family. But I wanted to mention this to you. The other day he was on the show, and I was talking about something my dad had said. So my dad watches this show all the time. So he called me today, and he said, hey, Coach Tiger and that guy from Centennial, I loved how that the banner, and they seemed like they liked each other. And he said, that's the way people ought to act when they talk to each other. And it's pretty cool, and that's who you are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a relationships guy, I think it's important in this world, especially with kids these days. I was pissed when we lost to him tonight, but at the end of the day, I saw him sitting over there and sat there and talked to him for 10 minutes or so, just because this district is so tough. if you sit around and beat yourself up and can't call anybody or anything like that, just to talk matchups, those kind of things, you're gonna have a long career ahead of you.
Yeah.
So that is one of the great thing about this group is nobody likes losing. Everybody's competitive, but at the end of the day, everybody, for the most part, is willing to pick up the phone or, shoot a text or whatever, just to make sure everybody's kind of in a good place. So
you said you're growing. Good chance you're going to see Franklin again. So haven't been back to watch the tape. It's not a tape, right?
No, not anymore.
No more tapes.
We're going to call it tape.
All right.
What did you learn tonight?
Obviously, and we talked about it Tuesday or Wednesday whenever we did the coaches show. It's one of those. Reed Kemp's a special player. They kind of went small in the second half. We didn't. I thought we did a good job for the most part. I don't know if you guys even know this. We had the ball down, or it was tied with 12 seconds to go.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So and we actually. Thinking back about it, I shouldn't have called timeout. We called timeout, didn't execute out of the timeout. We were getting what we wanted. So really, it's just it's a time for us to all learn.
You included? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I'm never the guy that's going to say, I didn't do anything or I did everything right. I've already told a lot of our guys, that. It'll be okay. We'll get better. We're continuing to improve, and I've done that a couple times this year. I'm a first-year head coach. I have a great coaching staff with me. All of our players, obviously, believe in each other, and at the same time, the only thing I can tell them is I'm happy it was tonight instead of 2 weeks from now. Yeah. And that's the way you have to look at it because I've got to learn, they've got to learn. After we didn't execute the last possession. We had a couple bad shots in overtime. So, it kind of goes back and forth here and there. But it's okay. I love my guys, and I think they're learning to trust, and I think they're trusting each other a little bit more. And so, I think we'll be okay when it's all said and done.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that part about relationships. And you, in my opinion, at Centennial, you were just what the doctor ordered. Because I've told you this, Coach, and I mean it. I hear from a lot of people how you're a school guy. That is so important. I think it's an underrated thing where people talk about, well, I know my sport and I'm a good coach. That's great, right? But you got to be a school guy. Everybody talks about it. Everybody talks about it. And it's obvious you're that guy. Centennial's lucky to have you, man.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, I mean, it's my first year teaching too, so man, life's been crazy since August. No doubt about it. You know, just a lot of things happening. You know, there's an article written a couple weeks ago about my mom dying back in January, and so, you know, just really trying to grow. But I think, you know, my wife's been fantastic in that area, and these guys and parents, man. I mean, if you knew all the stuff, my parents are literally going to donate a board in my mom's name in the locker room.
Oh.
You know, they raised $1,000 in less than a week.
That's great.
So. Just a special place. Obviously, admin's been great. You know, I don't think anybody's happy with 14-10. I think that's what we officially are. I don't think anybody's happy with 14-10, but it is a tournament sport, and I think we have the pieces, you know, to make a run if we kind of keep on this path that we're with.
No doubt about it, Coach. We appreciate you being here. I know it's a tough game tonight, but good luck to you moving forward.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Tate, I guess that about wraps it up, right, for the third annual.
I thought it was great.
Now, you've been here for all three behind the mic, right? So,
they said they have some leftover pizza.
Oh, that's great. How does this one rank compared to some of the others? Similar? Better? I'm talking venue, everything.
The content much better. No, I'm just kidding. It was really good, and I want. I think the coolest thing of the night is what we just saw.
Yeah.
With Coach James.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like,
they love it.
He's hurting, man.
No doubt, and they're here anyway.
And he came anyway, and I think that's cool. And so, Coach James hurting, and you know that's what you guys do, man. I mean, this is, you know, it's a competitive sport. So I don't know that I've seen that in the previous ones.
Well, and here's the thing too. That's a testament to Coach Hickman and Coach James. That's first-year coaches acting like a veteran should,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
They should. Hey, I'm going to show up. I'm going to take it like a man, and I'm going to talk about the game. That's hard to do sometimes, isn't it?
doubt.
And that doesn't mean that the people that weren't here that they didn't have something going on. I'm not saying that, but obviously those guys, they don't show up. You kind of go, oh, okay, I sort of get it.
Bet you would have come if you want. You know.
Yeah, but they're here, and that says something about them. And I think both of those guys are doing a good job.
Hey, real quick, because I know you got a lot of people to thank, but shout out to Lance, man.
No doubt.
It's 11 o'clock.
And
I don't think he sat down
pretty
since he
much
got
on
here.
time. We are.
You nailed it, brother. I'm impressed.
No, you helped me. Hey, by the way, one final time, we couldn't make this happen without Walker Chevrolet and what they do.
No, sir.
Mathews, Team Sports, and Adidas. Also want to thank Kings Bowl, WCTV. And by the way, we didn't mention this. These are it's not for Joins Gyms, right? This is our official, right? Provided by Balfour and
Josh Houston.
Because it's the Ring of Champions, right? And we're
Yes.
going to have some champions.
For sure.
And I'm
we
going to
already
say,
have some, don't we? We got a volleyball champion, a soccer champion.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say
a wrestling champion.
Fairview is going to be fitted for these here in a week or two.
Do they get rings?
Well, why wouldn't they?
I don't know. I just didn't know.
Tate?
Ray Dalton would have never ordered rings.
Tate, I appreciate you doing this with me. I know you're a busy man too. Very important part of WCS.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And this is your first one, man. You
That's
had
right.
big shoes to fill.
It's in the books, man.
And you did a good job. Great job.
We appreciate you guys joining us, whether you were live streaming or you were here live with us for the third annual Rivalry Friday show. We'll see you next time.